Welcome to the Success Blueprint, strategies to build a life and business you love. This is your go-to podcast for success in both life and business. I'm your host, Daniel Craig Johnson, and as a seasoned life and business coach with 15 years of experience, I will be sharing powerful stories, practical tips, and valuable insights on personal development, leadership, entrepreneurship, productivity, motivation, and more. Join me every week for the Success Blueprint, strategies for building a life and business you love. Let's ignite your success. Welcome back, everyone, to the second part of Embracing Impermanence, because it's the only constant in your life. I'm your host, Daniel Craig Johnson, and in today's episode, we'll conclude on the transformative power of impermanence, and we explore some practical strategies to navigate life's uncertainties. If you missed the previous episode, make sure to check it out for a foundational understanding of what we've been talking about in terms of impermanence. In today's episode, I want to build upon the concepts we discussed in our previous one and get into some practical approaches how we can embrace impermanence and thrive in uncertainty, because our lives are constantly evolving and the ability to adapt and find meaning in the midst of change is crucial for personal growth and well-being. So let's jump right into it. As a little recap from last week, by letting go of the need to absolutely control everything and by embracing the unknown, we cultivate resilience and we find inner peace. And we open ourselves up to new possibilities. We become more open, more flexible. Embracing uncertainty enables us to navigate life's twists and turns with grace and trust. And we foster personal growth and a deeper connection within ourselves and the world around us, our intrapersonal, our interpersonal relationships. So the points that we discussed last week were trusting the process, letting go of the need for control, cultivating resilience, living in the present moment, embracing change, developing inner strength, finding freedom in letting go, and embracing the beauty of mystery. These points have been part of the previous episode. We talked about them in principle, and it is important that we take that in and that we understand what are these points about and how do they impact our life and what can we do with them. So, embracing impermanence in daily life. Impermanence isn't just an abstract concept. It is a lived experience that manifests in our daily lives. It's around us, it's everywhere, it's consistent with us. Whatever step we make in the day, in the week, in the month, in the year, it's always followed by impermanence. To fully embrace impermanence, we have to integrate it into our routines, into our habits, our mindset. And in this next part, I want to discuss some practical ways to cultivate a mindset of impermanence and live with greater awareness. Because that's what it's about. It's about being aware and being prepared and understanding how impermanence impacts you every day, how uncertainty impacts you every day, and what can you do to be better at the parts of it that you can control, and to understand at the same time how to let go of the need to control things that we cannot control in the first place. Mindfulness is a powerful tool to cultivate present moment awareness and deepen our understanding of impermanence. So what can we do for that? We could do some mindful observation. Choose an object in your surroundings and just look at it. Observe it mindfully just for a few minutes and notice its shape, the color, the texture, any changes that you can see. With this exercise, you can train your mind to appreciate change and impermanence in the ever-changing nature of things. That is what it means to live in harmony with nature. Sitting down, watching the wind, watching trees change shape when the wind blows, watching the seasons, how green leaves turn into brown leaves and fall off the trees and how it changes our surrounding, and also understanding, and that is where the skill comes in, that it impacts us, that when we go into colder periods and everything becomes a bit more brownish and maybe even dark and gray, it has an impact on our mood because we experience something, we have emotions attached to those experiences. So when we understand these things and when we understand where do they maybe impact us negatively, then we can work with that and we can do something about it. Or when we see that they are impacting us positively, then we can try to replicate this feeling, replicate the situation, and make sure that we get more of that and less of the things that have a negative impact on us. Then body scan meditation. Just set aside 10-15 minutes each day for a body scan meditation. Start from the top of your head and slowly move your attention down to your toes, observing the sensations, any change you notice along the way. Really look at your body, look at your limbs, look at how you're going with your eyes flowing down your body. Look at the change and understand the sensations that happen in you. Understand what kind of sensations are occurring. You can do that with a partner. Look at each other, just stare into each other's eyes and try to feel how that changes the attitude, how it changes the mood and your surroundings, and how it changes the way that you feel. Those things help you to get better in touch with yourself. This practice enhances your awareness of the impermanent nature of bodily sensations, which is so important because they also have an impact on how we feel, how we do things, how we look at things. Every single thing that is happening around us, every sensation, everything that touches our senses, all of them has an impact and decides over how you're going to maybe behave over the next 5 or 10 minutes, or in a situation, in a talk with your partner. So when we start recognizing these things, that's when we create awareness, mindfulness, present moment awareness. And that is when we are better prepared to be open to change and to be open to things that are transforming. Or do a walking meditation. Take a walk in nature. Just pay attention to the sensations in your body and the changes in your environment. As you walk along a road and you might walk into a little piece of forest and it gets a bit darker and there's no sun, how that impacts you. Notice how the scenery is changing, the sounds vary, birds, and then you come closer to a road again and you hear cars. So it is very nice to see these transitions. It helps us to connect with the impermanence of nature and the world around us. When we look at things that are constantly in flux, we can see that everything is just a moving part all the time. So how would we expect that we can control that, or that we have any influence over it? And why would we then at the same time even allow ourselves to waste energy on that? Because it is not in our control. But what is in our control is that we understand those shifts, that we see what is happening, that we put measures in place, that we know how we're going to respond if something comes along our way that we don't like or we don't appreciate. And even there will be things that we cannot always control, but we can always control the way that we respond and the way that we allow it to make us feel. Basically, at the end of the day, how you feel about it is all attached to previous experiences, to stories that you tell yourself, to thoughts that you have attached, to sensation that becomes emotion, that becomes thoughts, and that becomes maybe a positive or negative habit. So that is important to understand, so that when we see that something like that happens and it takes away from us, we can work against that. And as I always like to re-highlight, gratitude practice. Each day before going to bed, reflect on 3 things or 4 things that you are grateful for. And for some people it sounds cliche, but it helps. It makes you feel a certain way. It makes you understand that you can achieve things, that you have been successful, that you have done maybe 2 or 3 things that you thought you couldn't do today. And by doing that, you understand and you feel your skills. You feel that you've overcame something. You might feel that there is something lingering inside you that you have to deal with, something that you want to address. So do that in a positive way. Embrace the impermanence of the blessings and express gratitude for the moments that they have brought to you and these little snippets of happiness, and appreciate them. Because with this practice, you cultivate appreciation for the present, and it reminds you to savor the beauty of each passing experience as it flows through you like energy. And you can take that in and you can work with that in a positive way. Another point we talked about was embracing change in relationships, because relationships are an ever-evolving aspect of our lives. To embrace impermanence in relationships, we have to be mindful. Whether it's the relationship with your friends, with your peers at work, with your manager, with your partner, relationships consistently change, they shift. And in order to really appreciate that, let's say for the relationship with your partner, we have to allow change and transformation to happen. We shouldn't be expecting that things play out the way that we would like them to be. And we can't expect that people behave the way that we want them to behave. But we have to understand their unique nature. This is the transient nature of life. We have to understand that things consistently shift. As I mentioned in a previous episode, when your partner goes to work in the morning, when they come back in the evening, they are changed people. There has been so many things happening to them during the day, impacting them, that can change everything, the way that they think, the way that they look at things. There could have been a discussion with someone that opened their eyes to something that they've never seen that way. So there is consistent transformation. And very often it happens that partnerships, they go apart because people have lived each other apart. And very often that happens because there is no communication, there is no understanding or no space for transformation and growth. And eventually 2 people find find themselves on a completely different life trajectory, which can also happen because they've never discussed the trajectory that they're on in the first place, or which trajectory they see for them together as a couple, not only as individuals, but also as a couple. So when we understand transformation and when we allow ourselves to be open about growth and transformation, then it is so much easier to understand when that happens in our partners. And then we don't have to fear that one day we wake up and we have a complete stranger in front of us, because we're part of that transformation, we're part of that growth. And no matter whether we like it or we don't, or we approve all of these things, it's not in our control and it's not our right to judge on that. The transformation and the change that happens in a person is theirs only, and they have to take responsibility for it. They are the ones that reap the rewards of it. They are the ones that have to live with the consequences if they change or transform into a different place. And it's not for us to say, I'm not happy with that. It's not for us to tell them that we're not happy with that and we don't want them to change or transform. We can well highlight that there is transformations happening that might not fit into our picture of the relationship anymore, and then one can have a conversation about it. But it is not within our right to try to stop that change and transformation. That is where resentment comes from, and that will inevitably lead a relationship to failure. So how can we practice these things? How can we apply that in our life? We can have open and honest communication. When we engage in open and honest conversations with our loved ones about the changes we are experiencing or they are experiencing individually and as couples or families, share with them what is happening, then they know and they can be aware and they can see, okay, this is what's happening. Why is this happening? Maybe have a discussion about it or just a casual talk. Share your fears, your hopes, your aspirations, and encourage the people around you to do the same thing. Embracing impermanence requires mutual understanding and acceptance and growth, and the understanding and acceptance of growth and change itself. Quality time for reflection, that's important. Set aside dedicated time with your partner or family to reflect on the journey you've shared together, because that is what it is about, so that they understand, oh, there is something that is different. It's not because of me, it's not because of something that is happening in our relationship, but it's because of a transformation or a change that is taking place. By being open and transparent about that, we can get our partners and the people around us on board. Create a safe space to discuss the changes and transitions you've experienced as a unit, or your partner has experienced, or yourself only. Celebrate the growth and the resilience you've shown, and envision the future with a sense of openness and curiosity, because you have been through challenges, you have overcome things, and you will have to do that in the future again. So that is the same thing as for yourself. Celebrate it, be grateful for it, and then embracing novelty and adventure. Seek out new experiences together that push you outside your comfort zones. Embrace impermanence by trying new activities, explore new places, go to a new restaurant, take up a hobby together. It's important to do this because this fosters adaptability and it cultivates shared memories and strengthens your bond. When you do these things, you grow together. You can also see how is your partner reacting in certain situations, how is your partner reacting under adverse circumstances or pressure. All these things help you to build trust and to discuss shortfalls and understand how much is each and every person in that relationship bringing to the party. When do we need to talk about it? When are you maybe only able to give 30% and I can only give 50%? And where's the shortfall? Where's the shortfall coming from? And how can we address that shortfall? Because then together it might be possible that one person can add another 20% because they have that capacity within them at the moment. And then we can bring it back up to 100. Or we can simply put measures in place how to counter the shortfall of the 30, 40, whatever percent. And that will help us to work with that uncertainty, with that impermanence that is happening and folding in front of us, because we are just currently in that state of the relationship or of life or the challenge that we're facing by ourselves or together as a couple. Letting go of expectations. Identify expectations you may hold for your relationships and consciously let go of them. Practice accepting your loved ones as they are and allowing them the space for their growth and change. That is unconditional love. That is being open and understanding to a certain extent spirituality, because spirituality is about being open to everything and understanding your body, being in touch with yourself and understand the transient nature of life and the sentient nature of life. Embracing impermanence in relationships means embracing the process of evolving together and as an individual, and then maybe be able to bring more to the party than yesterday, more than last year, and to move together and to grow on a trajectory that leads to more happiness, more balance, more unconditional love, and eventually to the highest form of being together, trusting each other, being vulnerable with each other. That is the cornerstone of every relationship. So this is covering some practical exercises for embracing impermanence in our daily lives and relationships. Now let's look at how we can apply these concepts in our careers and in our personal growth. Embracing impermanence in career and in personal growth. It's an important step that we have to take because it forces us to have that same attitude that we discussed before for couples, for relationships, to really apply that at work as well. Because just as in life, our careers and personal growth journeys are filled with uncertainties and changes. Change happens in an organization every day, whether it be through the outside world, changing revenue, changing targets, changing management. There's consistent change happening with us. When we embrace impermanence in these areas, we can unlock new opportunities for growth and fulfillment. In this segment, I really want to talk to you about practical strategies to navigate career transitions and adapt to change and foster personal development. Your career path is never set in stone, it's never linear. And embracing impermanence in your professional life means being open to change and exploring new possibilities and continuously adapting. And I want to talk just about a couple of exercises or things that you can do to work with that, like your skills assessment. Regularly assess your skills and identify areas where you can grow and develop. Embrace the impermanence of your skill set and seek out opportunities to learn new ones. Advance in your career, even if it is just for yourself. It doesn't always have to be to please work, but it is more for yourself. When you do this, you keep adaptable and it ensures that your skills remain relevant in rapidly changing times and in a rapidly changing job market. If we look at generative AI, there is a change happening. And that doesn't mean that we have to be scared of it. I've mentioned this before. It is not going to be AI that immediately is going to take your jobs away, but it is going to be a staff member or someone that comes in that can do the job and is capable of using AI to streamline that job or to make that job more effective. So it is important that you understand that it is not possible to fight against it. There's no way to disregard it and say, oh, it's not for me. That is not going to help when it comes to growth in a career. It is important that we start understanding, is there an application for AI in my business, in my job role? Can it help me to become smarter at what I'm doing or maybe become more streamlined at what I'm doing? What can I do to use and harness that power of artificial intelligence in my job role? And also when I do skills assessments, understand, could there possibly be impact that AI is going to have, particularly or with my job, and how can I make sure that I remain relevant and that I acquire these skills and that I am on board with the future trends of my role and my position in general. And that is why it's so important to consistently do skills assessments. By doing so, we remain relevant and we understand what we need to do to remain relevant in our job and in our profession. Another thing we can do is networking and building connections, engaging in networking activities and building connections with your industry. Embrace the impermanence of professional relationships and be open to new collaborations and opportunities. Don't close your angle of view down. Be open to everything that happens. Be open to the people that are great for you at work or that you get along with, but also focus on those ones that you don't and on those ones that might push your buttons. Open up, be more open to it. Very often we will see that working together with someone that we maybe not like so much can be much more successful than with someone that we know very well, because the boundaries of respect sometimes blur and the way that we see the responsibility and accountability balance between each other shifts and changes. So what you should generally do from a spiritual point of view and from a personal growth point of view is to be open towards everyone. Every single person that works in your organization or in your company has a certain skill and something that they are bringing to the table, because otherwise they wouldn't be there. So by being open to that, I'm also open again to new relationships, new connections, new learning skills that I might not possess and that I can see from someone else or assimilate. There is a lot of things that happen there and that I can use for myself and for the change within work itself. So when we collaborate and we look for opportunities, we can seek out mentors and peers who then can provide guidance and support during our career transitions if there's change happening. Because there might be someone that has been in our position before and they have been promoted and now we're following into their steps. So they know already the game. They know what is happening. They might be able to give you insight on the challenges that you are going to face and the hindrances that are going to be in your way. But now imagine you severed that relationship because you haven't been open towards them, because there's maybe something that you don't really like about them, and therefore you close down a relationship and an opportunity and a possibility. And you have to understand every person that you work with could literally someday be your boss, and that's possible. So why would you burn bridges? We know that in life it's the same thing. We should never burn bridges unless there's really something that that person has done that is so severe that you cannot get over it, and that it has severed the relationship so badly that it is not possible to move on. Then we just have to forget, forgive, and move on. By embracing lifelong learning, we stay open to these things. We stay open to these transformation and to that growth. We develop a mindset of consistent and continuous learning and growth. Embrace impermanence by seeking out educational opportunities. Attend workshops, webinars, and read books in your field. Soft skills, very important for any career. Stay curious and open to new ideas, as they can always lead to unexpected career paths. And personal development. The next opportunity might just be one book away, one workshop that you've done, one skill that you've acquired and attained and that you have focused on, whether it was expected from you or not. The next big opportunity is always just one decision away. So why close ourselves off and not be open to change and transformation? And create a flexible career plan. Instead of a rigid career plan, create a flexible roadmap that embraces change and allows for redirection. Embrace the impermanence of your goals and be open to pivoting when new opportunities arise. This will help you to be adaptable and resilient in the face of career uncertainties. When you create space for shifting and transition and for something to happen that might not be within your expectations, then you're not going to be disappointed, because you might be applying for the job internally and someone else is going to get it. And you're going to set yourself up for failure if you have rigid expectations, if your career plan is rigid. If you say, I have to be that client services manager when the next opportunity comes up, and you put everything in there, which is great, and you focus your attention fully on it, which you should do. But then when it doesn't come along, then you resent the person that might have gotten it. Then you act differently, you start behaving differently, and therefore you might cut your career chances or opportunities because you're not flexible and open enough. And maybe that was exactly what your superior was looking for. Whether you are able to say, okay, I didn't make it, but I will be diligent, I will support that person, I will give them my best as I did it before, and my opportunity will come. Very often this is something that is noticed. It will not go unnoticed in HR departments or with superiors. And when you stay open and relevant, then you understand that there might be valuable reasons why that other person has become the manager in that field, or why they have achieved to get that position and why you haven't. Maybe it's not the time yet. Maybe there's certain skills that are still lacking, or maybe you're just better in the place where you are right now. And if that continues and carries on, then obviously then there needs to be transformation within yourself, because then you have to look again and see, have you reached your ceiling within that organization? Is there a change that you personally have to make in order to make that transition into that next position that you want, into that leadership position or into the board or wherever you want to be? And if that is not happening, then you have to reevaluate whether the career path that you are on is still suitable. And sometimes it's also important to understand that we then have to reevaluate ourselves and think, why do I want that? And what is that going to do for me? What is that going to look like in 3-4 years when I am there and have been successful? And then we can see, where are the points coming from? What do I need to do? And how can I make necessary changes if that is what is required from me? And as in our personal life again, these flexible ways of thinking, they make us to remain open to change, and open to not set ourselves up for disappointment, because we are open towards things shifting and not always being the way that we want them to be. Because that is rarely going to happen in your life, that things in front of you turn out the way that you want them to. And then there is embracing the change in your personal growth, because personal growth is a lifelong journey, and it's a journey of self-discovery and transformation. When you embrace impermanence in your personal growth, it means letting go of fixed beliefs and being open to new perspectives and experiences. It is one of the key skills that I believe has helped me many, many times in life. And that was to be open to new experiences. That is why for people that know me, they will understand this. They can resonate with this because I have done so many different things in life. Even if it just comes to my sports activities, I have done so many things in life and it has brought me so much joy in so many different areas. And that is because I'm always open to new experiences. And very often people are not like that. I have some areas, like when it comes to going to restaurants or going to places, I do like a routine. I always become a bit suspicious when my partner wants to take me to a new place, and then I will ask, what is this? And why are we going there? Why are we not just going here? So it is, even for me, consistently an exercise to remain open and every now and then to say yes. I must say no is a very important word in life, but yes is a much better word, and it makes you, or it forces you to remain open towards different opportunities and experiences. If you say more yes than no, it will definitely be to your advantage. You just have to have clear boundaries and understand when is it relevant and important to say no. But other than that, no, open yourself up and be recipient of new opportunities. Be recipient for new challenges and pushing yourself past your own limiting beliefs. Some ways how to do that is self-reflection and journaling. We've discussed this in previous episodes. You have to set aside regular time for self-reflection and journaling. Explore your beliefs, your values, and your aspirations. Where do they come from? Why do I have them? How do they serve me? What are they going to do for me? And what is that going to look like? Embrace impermanence by questioning and challenging any limiting beliefs that may hinder you and hinder you from personal growth. Write down your insights and commit to continuous self-discovery. Continuous self-discovery is relevant. You have to do that because very often we get into this autopilot, how I like to call it, and then we forget to reevaluate and to look. If you look at a business process, something that maybe has impact positive or negatively on your revenue, on your growth, on your bottom line, it will never be the same just for one day. There's so many external influences that take place that influence how companies make revenue, how the bottom line looks like, the overheads. All of that is consistently shifting and transforming. And it's the same with yourself. And if you do not evaluate that on a regular basis and put measures in place and protocols in place, habits in place that keep you afloat and help you understand where are you, what is happening right now in your life, and what is maybe going well, what is going bad. This is a consistent evaluation process. Same with your relationships with your friends, your peers, your partner. It's a constant evaluation of factors from the outside and from within you that influence that. And if you are aware of that, if you are always aware and present in the moment and you have focus and clarity, it is so much easier to be prepared for all those things that consistently influence us. And that makes us more resilient and more prepared. Embracing discomfort and uncertainty, which is part of what we just discussed. An exercise for that is to seek out experiences that push you outside your comfort zone. Embrace impermanence by embracing uncertainty and take calculated risks. It cultivates resilience, adaptability, and personal growth. Sometimes it's also that thrill, just taking a calculated risk and doing something that you usually maybe wouldn't do. It gives you that release of hormones and it will make you feel good about yourself. It's like when you in the morning wake up and you feel like you don't want to go to gym and you're lazy, you want to pull that blanket over your head. How did you feel when you did that the last time? Yes, maybe in that moment you felt, okay, it's nice and warm, but 1 hour later, 2 hours later, you have regretted it. And how did you feel when you forced yourself to get out of that bed and go to the gym and do that session even though you hated it? Afterwards, there comes that release of the hormone. You feel good about yourself and you even feel better about yourself than you would have felt if you would have just regularly gone to gym. And that's the nature of it. That's how it works. Pushing ourselves out of the comfort zone, sometimes acting against what we want to do in order to prevent us from then later having a lack of joy, a lack of fulfillment because we did something, we gave into a bad habit, and that now makes us feel even worse about ourselves. Embracing failure and learning. Shift your perspective on failure from a negative outcome to an opportunity for growth. Embrace impermanence by seeing failure as a temporary setback. Never let it become a permanent reflection of your abilities. Learn from your failures, adjust your approach, and keep moving forward on your personal growth journey. Make sure that you realign, allocate your resources, and that you understand sometimes you will fail. But it's not about that. It's about, why did I fail? How can I make sure that I'm not going to fail at that in the future? How did it make me feel? Why do I not want that feeling in my life? And what can I do that it doesn't reoccur? The other point is cultivating self-compassion. By doing all these things that we've discussed, we embrace impermanence by cultivating self-compassion and kindness towards ourselves. Switch off that little voice in your head. Give that voice a name. And when Bob starts shouting at you, being unkind to you, being demeaning to you, and putting you down, you shut Bob down and you make sure that Bob doesn't have a voice. That is what we call self-care. And when we set realistic expectations and celebrate our progress along the way, then we foster a supportive mindset that allows us to consistently and continuously grow in our personality. And we can silence Bob and we can make Bob redundant around us. And Bob will always be there. Bob will always talk to you. But that's like the neighbor's dog that is always barking and bothering you. The dog is not bothering you. It's you that bothering yourself about the dog because of some experience or some trigger, or because you expect quiet because you have to work and that dog is now barking all the time. And instead of having an open mindset about understanding that that is in the nature of the dog and that is just what happens, and then finding solutions, maybe working at different times of the day, or maybe for those 2 hours that you know that the dog always starts barking because someone is not there or there's something that is freaking the dog out, and then maybe just going to a cafe and working from there with your laptop or whatever, or finding any kind of other solution to it. But no, we fixate ourselves on being bothered by that dog, completely disregarding the fact that that is nature and that is just what is supposed to happen. The dog is supposed to bark. And yes, sometimes it is because they're stressed and their owners don't really care about them. But it is still not the dog that is bothering you. You are bothering yourself about the dog. But by opening up and understanding and maybe investigating what is the problem at hand here, then we cultivate a sense of openness and flexibility, and maybe there will be a very easy solution to it. But when we don't do that, then we start having Bob talking to us, and Bob forces us to be, we start moaning and we start seeing everything negatively. Oh, and this dog. And then what we do is we instill another habit, because now we're going to go somewhere, and every single time that we hear a dog bark, it causes negative emotion in us because it reminds us of that experience that we had last week when that dog was just barking again and we got bothered about it. So when we do that, we really set realistic expectations, and we make sure that we don't get disappointed because we're expecting the world around us to be a certain way, which is most of the time never going to happen. That is important that we understand that, and that will then make us prepared for impermanence, for uncertainty, and for things that happen that are without our control or not within our control. And then focus on those that we have in control, like taking that laptop, going to the cafe, because we know that dog always starts making noise from 5 till 6. So why would I be at home? Why would I experience that? There's nothing that I can do about it. I've discussed it with the neighbor. The dog just has a problem. It's maybe noise sensitive or whatever the case might be. So there's nothing that I can do about it anyway. It's out of my control. So let's just focus and allocate our energy on the thing that I can control. So we've explored practical strategies for embracing impermanence in our daily lives, our relationships, our careers, and personal growth. So I just want to reflect on how incorporating these practices can improve our lives and businesses. When we embrace impermanence and we thrive in uncertainty, it will have a profound positive impact on both our personal and professional lives. As we discussed in these points above, by cultivating a mindset of impermanence, we develop resilience, we become more adaptable, and we understand and find a deep appreciation for the present moment. When we have this mindset, it allows us to navigate change with grace and openness, openness, being flexible, unlocking new opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Because as I said, the next opportunity is just one decision away. And that I can achieve by being open, by having this growth mindset and not this scarcity mindset. In our relationships, embracing impermanence fosters deeper connections as we learn to accept and support one another through life transitions. In our careers, it empowers us to remain agile and seize new possibilities, leading to fulfilling and purpose-driven professional pathways. That is the key to be successful at work. When we apply all of this and we are open-minded, we become completely different players in the ball game. And it sets us ahead of so many other people because it is just the top echelon of every company most of the time that thinks that way. And that is why they are sitting where they sit, because they have acquired those skills, attained them, and they consistently transform and improve those skills. That is so relevant in work. But it is even more so relevant in your personal life, because when you grow as a person in your personal life, when your relationships around you are great, it will hugely impact the way that you show up at work and the way that you conduct yourself at work. So it is really important that we work with these skills on a daily basis. On a personal level, embracing impermanence enables you to let go of limiting beliefs, embrace uncertainty, and embark on a journey of continuous self-growth. It liberates you. It liberates you from the fear of failure, and it will empower you to explore new horizons, unlock your full potential. Ultimately, I always say by embracing impermanence and thriving in uncertainty, we cultivate a sense of peace, resilience, and gratitude. I have experienced that all along my life. For everyone that knows me, my life has been packed with uncertainty, with impermanence in ways it would take 10 episodes to explain that. And maybe I will do something where I talk about these things. But one thing that has made me the person that I am was the uncertainty and the impermanence that I faced in my childhood, that I had to deal with as a child, that I had to deal with growing up as a teenager. And that has made me super resilient. And for everyone that knows me, they will testify. Resilience is something I can tell a couple of stories about. I'm resilient, I have tenacity, and I will never give up. I will always look for another way. Because, as I said, the next best opportunity or the next beautiful thing to happen in your life is always just one decision around the corner. That is how I see it. When we become active participants in our life, fully present and open to the ever-changing dance of existence, then we really can harvest all the fruits of life, of that beautiful tree of life that throws opportunities at us every second that we walk this planet, every second that we do something, that we step out of our house, climb out of our car, into the gym, into work. There is every single time baskets full of fruits that we can take and harvest from that tree of life. So that concludes on impermanence. I hope that this episode resonates with you, that there's something that you can take away from it. Obviously, there is many more things to be discussed. There's many more tools, there's practices, there's methodologies, how to get better at these things. And if you want to connect to me, drop me a message. It is linked in my description how you can make contact with me. I put my email address there as well. So connect to me, have a chat to me, and maybe I can open your mind to things that you haven't looked at the right way, or maybe that you haven't explored enough. And I am quite sure that I can add value to your life with certain things that I have in my toolboxes that I can give to you. So make contact, let's have a talk. You know where my Instagram account is, Mindworks Coaching, and I'm always open to have a discussion, have a communication with someone if there's something that I can do for you. We have courses that are specifically made to foster these things and to attain the skills that we need for that. Whether it is for business, for leadership, stepping into the C-suite, wherever you find your challenges, there is ways to deal with these things and to become better at them and attain the skills required to handle them in a professional and meaningful way. So I hope that you have a great week ahead. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I really had great fun putting this together, these 2 episodes. And I'm very excited to see you guys tomorrow for the 15-minute Monday. Thank you for joining me on this journey of embracing impermanence, because this is the only constant in your life. Remember, life is a beautiful tapestry of fleeting moments, and it's in embracing impermanence that we discover the true richness of our experiences. That's Daniel from the Success Blueprint. Take care, guys.